Hey folks, David back again with another video. I'm going to try to make this one shorter than the previous uploads have been. I can't go on for an hour, especially on my phone. I just saw, finally, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and instead of saying the whole movie the way I know I do a lot of times, I just want to give my immediate impressions of the movie and just say what all I liked about it. First off, I really liked this one. I liked it better than the previous movie, which was called. Let me look at him here real quick. I enjoyed Henry Cavill in that previous one as like the fanatic character that he played, but this film to me is even even better, more entertaining than that one was, with an even better story. It's a two-parter, obviously. Um, Let me go ahead and Google Henry Cavill's name. That'll give me the name of it. I can't recall the name of it. Fallout, that's what it was. Oh yeah, the fallout from all your... How did that one guy say it? He was that creepy character guy. It was Sean Harris playing Solomon Lane, and that whole fanatic bend. It's time for the world to end and for suffering to happen, whatever. There's a little bit of that in this movie in part one of Fallout. I'm sorry, Dead Reckoning, but not really. This movie was more. I gotta watch my favorite Shia LaBeouf movie, Eagle Eye, and do a review of it for this channel, because this movie, so much of it reminded me of that movie, of how the sentient, self-aware, the entity, like the AI personality, is like taking control over, like Skynet, and it's controlling everything, and it's manipulating you to its own ends, and it won't let you stop it. I love that movie, Eagle Eye. I should really watch it, do a review of it for this channel. That it had big Eagle Eye vibes in this movie. With I love the way it started. The whole sequence with the submarine. I was thinking, wow, I know this is a secret agent movie. It's Mission Impossible, but got some good submarine warfare happening here. It was actually good looking with the Russians and everything, and the really tense moment that they had of being faked out by the AI, because that's what was going on. You realize after the fact they weren't actually encountering another submarine with their super stealth Red October-esque super submarine. I love that narration at the beginning. He didn't say we are literally the state of the art. It was much more eloquent than what I just said, but as he's saying all the things, the capabilities of this submarine, and how stealthy it was, and how it relied upon this artificial intelligence apparatus, it was really good. I love the way it started, and then I like the next scenes of the sort of reunion, if it were. Not that they parted ways, I don't believe, in the previous film. That is Ethan Hunt and Rebecca Ferguson's character, Elsa Faust. Spoiler alert. I'm going to go and put spoiler alerts just in case. It's only a couple years old, but maybe somebody hadn't seen the movie. I'll put spoiler alerts at the start of this, so just in case somebody would be spoiled by what I'm about to say. I wish she had been given a little bit more fanfare with her death in this, and as much as the evil character played by Isaiah Morales, he plays Gabriel, and I don't see him in very many things. I'll never forget him from La Bamba and all the little roles he's been in, but it seems like it's few and far between with the things that I see. I don't see him in very many of the movies that I watch, and I mainly watch movies. He did a job. He did a good job as this evil, completely committed, completely given over to this idea of the entity, and he's going to be its instrument. And again, it had the same kind of fanatic vibes as the previous movie has. I know a lot of these have to have that kind of aura to them, the like the terrorist mentality and being completely committed. It comes across so freaky, but he did a good job, and he was cold-blooded. He was a cold-blooded killer in this. When he turned on Paris, I wasn't expecting that, but it made sense in the moment as it was happening, but it's not something I predicted in the plot beforehand. Clementieff, I think I said that right. all I could see was Mantis the whole time that every scene she was in, and it looked like she was having a ball making this movie in that car chase. What a car chase that was! It was evenly balanced. I thought it's got some tense moments, but it wasn't too overly. It wasn't drawn out too much. I don't think. And then there's in the yellow car, little bug, and Grace, played by Haley Atwell, Agent Carter herself. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I looked her up right before this. Peggy Carter, yeah. She she looked at him like, I understand, but it's like it's like he can't figure this stuff out. It was almost, oh man, it's like the way they set these up. Sometimes, he's pushing buttons and it's causing the windshield wipers to come on. It's like it was some comedic relief, and I really liked it. And then when Mantis watching him go around and around, that any more of that, and it would have been irritating. But I think it was just right. She when she plows into those motorcycles, it's just it was it was entertaining. This movie was entertaining from start to finish. I remember the previous film. There were a couple of moments that I was like, man, it seems like we're getting kind of slow here. I didn't really feel that with this movie, and I watched this on my laptop here, which just isn't the same as the movie theater. It just isn't. I got the lights turned off, and I try to make a little theater as much like the movie theater as possible. Turn the lights off. Got the laptop right here in front of me, but it's just not the same. For instance, for this one reason, that great music they play at the end of this film, I just could imagine myself. I have to imagine myself because I wasn't in the theater, just sitting there, still watching the movie as the credits go up, and you see all the people who made this film, this movie, and that music they played. It was a good piece of music, and it wasn't the Mission Impossible theme. They always have that, but it was just so good. I just thought about Gabriel and how he got away and what a sinister guy he was. And the music was just powerful for a few seconds. I thought I could just say, I wish I would have been in the theater watching this one, but I didn't make it a couple years back. Didn't make it to the theater, but I watched it now and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Ving Rhames' character, Luther, he is like such a mainstay in this thing, this whole deal, and so is Simon Pegg's character. That they're always a hoot, but this one maybe more than any other. It seemed like Ving Rhames' character Luther was. He's almost like the Maha, like a. He speaks to Tom Cruise. He speaks to Ethan in a couple scenes in this, basically trying to get him to slow down a little bit. Not that Ethan was getting ahead of himself, but he wanted him to think about the AI, about the entity as they call it throughout this whole movie, and how you got to understand it's playing you. It maybe wants you to do this. Makes you want. You got to promise you won't kill him. You won't let your emotions get the best of you when you look at him face to face. The evil Gabriel. So he was really good in this, and Simon Pegg, you are done. That was a neat scene. He was entertaining as ever in this also. I guess it's because the particular story that they were telling. I enjoyed this one more than the last film for whatever reason. Maybe when I do my marathon, because what I want to do with the final Mission Impossible coming up, part 2 of this, what I want to do is go back and watch them all like a marathon. Start with the first movie and work my way all the way up to this one, because there are actually a couple that I still have never seen. I've never seen Ghost Nation or Ghost Protocol. I've never seen Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation. Those are 2 that I just completely have not seen, and I can only remember bits and pieces, I think, of the third one, which that one was something else. I want to do a marathon and just watch all of these movies again and just have a ball with them. For instance, I don't know who this Marie character is. Mariella Garriga plays her, and there's this flashback scene in this movie where Gabriel murders her, and I'm like, is this something just happened in real life? Is this what got Ethan into this whole thing, or has that happened? Did that happen in one of the movies I haven't seen? I gotta figure that part out. But Vanessa Kirby's back as Elena Mitsopoulos, and she was good in this. even more, maybe a little bit more crazy-eyed and maybe a little bit more evil and desperate to achieve whatever ends of self-protection and enriching herself for power or whatever than she was in the previous movie when she was introduced. But she was good in this too. Eunice Chang plays Dior. I can't even remember who she was in this. I'm looking at the cast right now. And Greg Tarzan Davis plays Degas, and I want to say something about him and who was the agent he was with. Come on, surely he's up here. These two guys, these guys who follow Ethan and trying to capture him the whole movie were they were just something else. Every time I saw them, I'm like, something funny's about to happen. And it didn't mean to be that way. Shea Wiggum as Briggs. This guy, let me look him up real quick to see what I've seen him in, because I recognize him from something, and I think I'm about to find out what. Let me look at his actor credits. I've seen him in something. I know I have. Well, I'm not seeing it. I don't know what it is. I just know I've seen him in something. Kong Skull Island. He was Cole, and he had that scene that it's not meant to be funny, but in the theater, the way he dies in Kong Skull Island, there were people kind of giggling and laughing about that. So that's where he's from, and no wonder that his face is in my brain. When these two guys show up, it's like he's completely committed. He doesn't care what Ethan's about. He's rogue from the government. He's gone rogue. He does his own thing. He's not a team player, and he's out there endangering our national interests. That's all that's on his mind. But there's this neat scene in the movie where he has his little sit down in the train at the end with that great train sequence, which that was just, I give that 9 out of 10 on the scale of how entertaining was it, how well done it was, how good it looked. That was just great. Degas. Isn't it convenient though when I almost called her Mantis, when Paris, I'm looking for her here, yeah, when she opens up on a machine gun, she kills the whole team except for them, the special forces secret agent operators who were sent to bring in Ethan. Anyway, he has this neat little sit down with him at the end of the train, and Degas is actually just speaking his mind, being honest. What if he had a good reason? It's like, who? What? You're talking about Hunt. What if he had a good reason for going rogue? It's like, but he's always going rogue. Briggs is like, he's always going rogue. He and his happy little band of freaks, they're always out there doing whatever they want to do. They don't understand. They don't follow protocol. They don't do. And then Degas is like, well, what if they had a good reason every time? And then this neat question, Briggs says, I'm starting to wonder whose side you're on here. And what Degas' answer was, he says, when it comes to the end of the world, because they have an inkling of what is at afoot here with at least I think they did. I think they were brought into that part of it, with the AI machinations and what the danger was. He says, when it comes to the end of the world, everybody. He's on everybody's side. You want to do the right thing. It was a neat scene. It was a neat moment between those two in the film. Henry Zanery plays Agent Eugene. It's not giving me his whole name here. Kittredge. But I want to look him up real quick to see which Mission Impossible movies he's been in. I'll never forget him from the first film, quite obviously. But was he in any of the other ones before this one? No, I think he was in Fallout. Let me go all the way back and see. Mission Impossible. And then the next Mission Impossible that he's in. Well, he's been in a lot of stuff. I just don't see him in a lot of stuff. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? Really? I thought he was in another one before this. It seems like he had a part in Fallout. Or maybe the dialogue, maybe that little bit of narration from the bad guy is what I'm getting confused about, because in the trailer for Dead Reckoning you see that all that you've done has led up to this moment, and it's like no other time. It's a really neat thing the way they set that up, and it's good. It's good stuff. What else can I mention here? Again, Rebecca Ferguson's character, she was like representative of like a love interest to Tom Cruise's character Ethan, and so I just wished they had given her more of a fanfare when she died in this, when she was killed by Gabriel, because that set up the motivation for those two at the end. But it's like she was such a big part of the previous film, and in fact, let me look her up. And okay, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, Fallout. So she's been in several of these, and I don't know if in real life this was a scheduling thing with her. Maybe she couldn't be in any more movies. Maybe she had to go be in the Dune Dune movies or something. I just wish that at the end there'd been a little bit more of a mournful scene for her or something. But hopefully, maybe they'll also have something for her. Not that her character's still alive or anything, but maybe they'll have a little bit more of a fanfare for her in the final film. At least I hope they do. Haley Atwell as Grace. I could see her as Agent Peggy Carter, just this whole thing. And it was weird because even though I never watched any of the Marvel TV shows, I love those early movies. And so to watch her in this character where she knows nothing of what's the word, covert operations, of secret agent whatnot. She's just a humble thief who's good at playing people, and she just wants to look out for number one and all that, and comes off as naive and innocent a little bit of the time. It was kind of jarring when I expect her. I'm so used to seeing her as like, or thinking of her as that not necessarily hardened soldier, but she's in the game. She's committed and professional, and like on point, you know, not this when she's trying to play somebody or pick their pocket or something like in this movie. She was good. She was really good. They were all good. I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would, and I only say that because there was something about the previous film which I did enjoy. It's just there was something about the ending that got to me, and some of the slow bits that kind of fatigued me. I can't explain it well. I'll have to watch it again and give an actual review of it. But yeah, Cary Elwes as Denlinger in this movie. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen him. He's another actor who I love him in a lot of the stuff I see him in, but I don't ever see him in anything. He thought he was going to play Gabriel. Really, he thought he was going to be. And that's what tells you that I'm watching this movie thinking, okay, we got CIA director and director of national security, whatever, both on this train. That's how you can know this is such a wonderful little fantasy story and utter make-believe, because in real life, not only the actual real-life directors of these agencies don't get off their butts and actually go do things themselves, even their top underlings would also just assign somebody else to go do. They would subordinate. They would hire out. I'm missing the word, but they would get somebody else to go do this stuff. Even this the most important stuff there is. Markello Walton. He's got an almost spooky face to me now, considering that it's him. A masked adjutant. That's so good. I did not see that coming. When they do this stuff with the mask and infiltrating, I never do get it. But it is what it is. The way Ethan broke into whatever secret. Oh, he can get into wherever he wants to get into. But that was an excellent scene with the gas that I guess knocks people out immediately, so long as it is immediate. Then they wake up later, I guess. But I got to look up Rob Delano, JSOC. Is that who I think it is? Is that who I think? Yes, that's the guy from Deadpool. I never saw that junk, but I know there's a funny part that he played in that, in Deadpool, too. Funny stuff. I thought that was him when I saw him in this. What more can I say about the movie other than I really, really liked it? The train scene was great. The whole thing with Gabriel rigging the train so that then Ethan missed his jump, and there's like 10 minutes, it seems, of him driving his bike. This looks like a sports mountain bike looking thing, not a full some huge Harley or anything. Something for the mountains, something rugged, all terrain, cycling up to this motorcycling up to these hills, and he's like, I missed the train again. And there's Simon. Am I getting his name right? I'm wanting to confuse Simon Pegg with the actor from the previous film, Benji, yelling at him, "How did you miss it? I'm under a lot of stress here." That was good. It's like, you're under a lot of stress. The part where I was feeling like I was almost getting out of sorts, how upset I was getting. And yeah, it was actually getting at me. The part of the film where the AI entity takes over their communications and their voices and everything, and tells Ethan to go down this alleyway, and they're freaking out like, "It's not us, Ethan, don't listen to it." And that's how it led all them to that point where Gabriel fought and murdered, almost said Grace, Elsa. And that whole thing was just, it's like you're there, you know. It's like, you know, something's going down, and you don't want your heroes to get hurt or die, and so you got to watch this, and it's like, what's happening here? What's going to happen? It's getting too tense. And then again, Cary Elwes, I'm looking at him, and his photo on IMDb is just him going. I'm thinking of The Princess Bride. What more can I say? I enjoyed the film, and I'm really looking forward to the other half of it, where they hopefully stop these nukes from going off. Is that what's going to happen? Is that what's going to happen? Because the whole thing with the key and who has it, who doesn't have it, that was that. Again, the whole sequence with the train, I loved everything about it. It was, if they had gone too much into some shenanigans, or if there had been too many people on the plane, or if there had been too many things happening, it would have been too much. But this was just really well done to me, just entertaining from start to finish. I thought she was gonna die at the very end. I thought Grace, when I'm like, the train's falling over and then it's still going, so another car's falling, and then another car's falling, and they're running. It's like a cartoon almost, as they're running to keep from getting drugged down into the valley where Gabriel had blown up the bridge. I thought at that last point where they were actually completely vertical, hanging because they couldn't run any further, it had caught up with them. I thought she was going to die, but then she didn't. And the whole thing, like I said before, when Gabriel turned on Paris because he thought Paris would betray them because Ethan had spared her life, and I was so worked up at that moment, I thought maybe Ethan is going to use that pipe and knock her noggin off, but he didn't. He hit the wall in a rage and looked at her like, "I could have killed you," and went on. So she's in the next film now, I realize. I just checked on IMDb, and again, I noticed she didn't die from him stabbing her. I thought it was a stab to the heart. When they struggled, and it happened so fast, and he runs out, she shoots the door. I thought that switchblade he carries around, I thought that was like in her heart or her gut or something, that she was going to die. But she made it. And the person who died in this, tragically, was Elsa, and it was just sad. That was just a sad moment. It certainly raised the stakes in this story, and I'm looking for Mr. Gabriel to get his comeuppance. That's all I can say. I feel like I want to keep talking about this, but I got to shut down this video. Maybe I will add a little bit of audio onto this later if I can think of some more things to say. I might just be repeating myself, but you know me. I love this. I love talking about the films that I've just watched. So, till next time, folks. Just in case it's the end, or maybe I'll add more to this. Who knows? Hello again, folks. Yeah, you know me by now, so you know I'm going to be adding more to this journal entry. And this final segment for this review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is definitely going to feel like a journal entry for sure. It is after midnight on that night where I sat in my room and watched the film. And I want to share something with you that you might think is strange to share in a movie review channel, but because this is really as much of a journal channel for me and my expression of my appreciation and thanks for film art as it is an actual review channel, which I guess I very rarely review movies in the traditional way. Hopefully this will make sense to you, that I'm willing to open up a little bit and talk about this, because in these reviews, as I call them, for the sake of calling them something that people would recognize, I talk about how movies influence me, about not just when I saw a film, where I was, but beyond that, the ideas it gave me, how it influenced my life, what I gained from it. Maybe sometimes that I wish I had never seen a film to begin with, because it had a negative impact on my mind. These days, I've decided to just stay away from things like that altogether, because it's just not worth it. If I go to the movies, for instance, and I watch a movie that I picked out, it's because I thought I was going to like it. I don't even give a chance to certain movies anymore. So there is that. But what I want to talk about is how movies influence you, and in this case, obviously myself. I'm a little out of sorts tonight as I'm trying to fall asleep. Well, very early morning. It's after 1 a.m. now. Because I have a condition that I've actually talked about, not on this channel, but in other videos on YouTube and Rumble, called atrial fibrillation. And my problem is letting myself get so worked up that I'm actually kind of triggered. I mean, literally triggered, not the way the SJWs are triggered, but actually triggered in my mind, and like an emotional, I'm not going to say imbalance. It has to do with electrolytes misfiring in my past history of, or I should say electrolyte depletion, maybe partially because of a horrible diet, but also my history of AFib and how mind and body work together. When I was originally diagnosed with this back in, I think it was January 2014, maybe February 2014, the doctors really didn't have a completely satisfactory answer for me as to what I was going through and why I had a rapid and irregular heartbeat for a time. They gave me a beta blocker basically, and I was on it for a while until I no longer needed it, because things had leveled off, settled down, and I had my sinus rhythm, regular heartbeat back again. And well, needless to say, it's not something that's gone for permanently ever. Like most other medical conditions, it's something you just have to manage. And from time to time, I let myself get so worked up, and it's usually over anger. It has to do with, basically I see something that just makes me so angry, it might as well be 10 different men being angry, but all in one mind and body, mine. And things in the news I used to let get to me, and now I watch the news considerably less.
and a few other triggers. Basically, images of any kind of like a police misconduct or excessive force, just things like that, of like a tyrannical type of thing. One of the big triggers way back in the day was some of the images coming through of what ISIS was doing over there in the Middle East and Syria. I won't get into the details of that here. I'll just give you a good idea that it's that kind of thing. And it's almost as though I feel like it's happening to me, and that's how upset I get. And yet in real life, I don't know if anybody would actually, I don't know how I would react if I were actually physically assaulted to that extreme degree. But again, it has to do with things going on in the mind. And how does that connect with Mission Impossible? Well, I really didn't think this was going to happen. I had no idea I would end up talking about this after watching Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. But it was the scene of Ethan that did it, where he's running to the bridge of whatever over there in Venice. I forget what the name of it was in the movie, but it's basically leading up into the sequence where Elsa dies, and the villain, Gabriel, is already beating up Grace. She tried to stand her ground, and he was basically just messing around with her, and then Elsa wanted a full-on, like, knife fight, like honorable combat or some such thing. It was kind of interesting the way that all played out. But yeah, when the entity, as they kept calling it, had taken over the communications from his partners, Ethan's partners, so that he was being led the wrong way, and then he was late in getting there, and he was attacked by Paris was her name, and some other goon thug that working for maybe working for her as she was working for Gabriel. I don't know. Gabriel seemed almost like a one-man show, as far as it almost seems like the Joker, but without an evil laugh. Like he seems like the kind of villain who's going to give all of his underlings a slip, a banana. They're going to slip on a banana peel before they work for him for very long, or certainly before he reaches his final goal, whatever that is. I guess we'll find out in the final film. Oh, by the way, delegate was the word I was looking for but couldn't find because my brain only works half the time. When I talked about how the CIA and the intelligence agency heads would never actually get on that train. This movie is fantasy. I was just making a joke, and then I ended up not being able to even find the word I should have. They would have had their underlings do it. They wouldn't have gone to do anything themselves in real life, is all I was saying. But yeah, it was that scene of Ethan fighting Paris and the other guy, and I just want to share something with you. I was getting so worked up, and again, this has to do with what maybe, I'll go ahead and admit it, instability of mind on my part that actually makes me miss out on things. And as much as, like I said, after the fact, I wish they had given Elsa just a little bit more of a moment as far as like saying goodbye to her sometimes, instead of going right into trying to recruit Grace because of her impossible situation, that maybe she would join the Mission Impossible team. She would join MI5, whatever. It was just lousy that happened because of the evil Gabriel. But it was as Ethan was fighting the thugs that I started to get triggered. It's like I was just getting so angry that in my mind I actually did imagine him putting that pipe through Paris's head, because that's where I was. I mean, it's like, on the one hand, it's like you care about your heroes, he cares about his friends, and these people are threatening their lives, literally, and one of them's about to be murdered. And then on the other, I'm just watching a movie, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's like, how could I let myself get so worked up that I'm going to have trouble getting to sleep tonight and tomorrow night and the next night after that and the next night after that because of the mild AFib spell that I have now because I let myself get so worked up watching a movie. Is that not strange? Anyways, so on the one hand there's that, and then on the other hand, this is what I meant by you miss out on things. It's like it should have been more shocking when Elsa died than it was to me, because I was just so carried away with what I would like to do to these people. It was pretty bad. And yeah, but really this goes all the way back. I think I know what the source of this was for me. Not that I had atrial fibrillation, where the top part of your heart quivers just a little bit so that it doesn't beat completely in unison with the bottom half of your heart. Not that that was going on when I was a kid, but one of the first movie where I was watching, and I was just so into like the passion and the fight that was going on the screen was Braveheart, way back when, in the mid-90s, when I was still a kid. I'm like 11 years old, and I don't want to say this health issue started then, but really the seeds of it were basically planted then in my mind as I picked up like a broken broom handle or something. That was my makeshift sword as I was William Wallace fighting off the British, the English. And is that something I thought when later in life, when my mom and I went to see The Patriot, I thought, does Mel Gibson just have something against the English, the British? He's always got to make these epics where he's fighting off the English army. Anyways, side tangent. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you tonight, and or whenever you might watch this. I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this video, much less all of my ramblings about how I let Mission Impossible trigger me. How, and it's not even Mission Impossible, it's not the movie, it's me, and I know that. It's my issue, and alas, I think I have now added the third and final trigger of the three things that trigger me. I won't get into the other two too much, but it's actually something that I love in this world. It can be movies. Of all things, I let myself get worked up because of one fight sequence in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm not going to take the easy way out and say, well, it's just because I don't want anything bad to happen to these people. No. My characters, the people I'm rooting for, you know, it's something else. It's something else, and I know that. It's something that I have to work on so that I don't miss the whole point. Isn't that right? And so, what more can I say about the movie while I'm talking about this? I've already said how much I enjoyed it. Okay, there was that fight sequence. What else was there? Quite a few mind games with the characters looking at each other in these situations where they all of a sudden show up together to have their confab and decide what's going to go down. I really like the opening sequence. I've already mentioned the submarine scene, but then in the desert, that was another tense moment, and I like the way they didn't show you all of what happened until after the fact, after Ethan had infiltrated the CIA basically and had faced off with Kittredge and told him, but not told him some things, that Elsa was still alive, and he really cared for her, you know, how he said, okay, you're dead now, stay dead, okay? And she's riding off into the sandstorm after this shootout. That was a neat shootout in the sandstorm. I like that. That scene was very good. A little bit tense, which is what I like. But then things kind of worked out, and it led into the next entertaining sequence. What more can I say? I want to keep talking about this movie, but I guess I gotta eventually just shut up. Um, I'm curious as to what in the world's going to happen in the next movie because the stakes are so high. They've never been higher, and this will be the last film with Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. I know they'll reboot the whole thing within 10 years, but it's like this is the end of an era for him as far as him being in these things. And there's something about the style and the music of this one in particular. It's like another side tangent. I was never able to get into James Bond. I have only watched maybe a couple of films. I suppose if I went back and watched some of the old ones, maybe it would be entertaining or something. But there was something about it that's just too racy, too over the top. It just didn't draw me in the way these Mission Impossible movies did. And I do mean from early on, because I liked Tom Cruise for a long time anyways. And I'm concerned that maybe they're just going to kill him off, or will they kill the whole team off, or he'll have like a Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. ending where he'll fake his death, and everybody will think that he actually is dead. But it's like, nah, if his friends ever needed him, he would show up, even after whatever happens in the final film happened, But so I'm just interested in seeing what they do. I'm eagerly anticipating, because this was the best Mission Impossible film that I've seen. I'll go ahead and say it, maybe of all of them. And I really like the first movie. Like I said, I got to do a marathon where I go through all of them one at a time and give my thoughts on each one of them. 30 years they've been making these movies. Anyways, what more can I say? The thing with the key, I thought at the time or two as I was watching it, joining the keys together, and the way it looked, and how it's almost like a McMuffin. What do they call it? This item you've got to find, and I don't know. It seemed, I don't know, formulaic is the word some of the time, but then by the end of the film, I was just like, you know what? This all just worked in my book. It just worked to me. They got the keys and all the little double crossings and the pickpocketing. It was entertaining. Like, who's got it? Did the good guys have it or the bad guys have it? And then when Gabriel, he got away, and Ethan was sure enough going to kill him there. I thought he's actually going to do it, and that was me thinking. After he said, "I'm the only one who knows, Ethan. I'm the only one who knows what the key opens." I thought Ethan, before he might kill him, would say something like, "Yeah, but you're not the only one who can know." And then maybe he would go ahead and avenge Elsa. And then the two agents show up, and they are so funny, especially the guy who's in Kong. My goodness. They made this movie entertaining somehow. It's just so entertaining, more so than... Oh man, I'm really looking forward to the next one, the final one. And it's really something how it looks like Paris Mantis has joined another team. It's not the Guardians of the Galaxy this time. It's Mission Impossible. Anyways, I guess I've talked this one to death. Plus, going into my medical history might not have been the best idea, but it is part of my movie watching experience this time, and so there is that. I'm already starting to feel a little bit better the more I just lie here and just chill out, talking about something I love, movies. It's such a bummer that Elsa's gone, and I know I'm getting kind of hung up on that, but it's like, it's just rotten. But it's part of the story that raised the stakes. And now Grace is going to be in there in Paris. And, yeah. Okay. That's enough. I really do need to just shut up now. Thank you so much, folks. If anybody has listened to this all the way to the end, I'm going to count you as a friend. You've given me more time and attention than I deserve, and hope you're doing well. And we'll see you all in the next movie review. Thanks again, and take care.